Have I turned into Bunny? Hang on, where's straw? Metal straw. I've turned into Bunny. Hold on. Sippy, sippy. I know, it catches up on the best of us. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Oh, let's hope people turn up. I need to talk to people today. I just need some social interaction. That's what I need. I just need, like, people, you know? People who need people. One of those days, you know, girl. How can you have one of those days when you're in lockdown? I don't understand it. One of those things I just don't get. How can you have one of those days when everyone's supposed to be, like, avoiding everybody? Don't get it. Don't get it. Hello, peeps. Hello, people. Is there a way to find out a list of the people that are in here? Also, say hi. Like, is it here or is it here? The chatty feedy. Yeah, Hi, Charles. How are you? Yeah, I'm going live because I want to. So I am. I'm not doing this out of any sense of obligation. I actually want to talk to people. I know. Talking to people. Shocking. Me? I know. But how are we all doing? Are we okay? Like, you know, week 9, check in. How's things? Like, where are you in the world? And what's the tea on all of that there? Are you safe? Are the shops open? Are the shops closed? The gym's open? The gym's closed? The government doing good? Is the government doing bad? What's the ish? What's the tea? What's the people feeling? Yeah, because I'm having one of those days. Also, I do have snacks, but they're for me because I can't pass them through to you. By the way, do you have these where you're from? Mini rolls. Oh, they're so good. So good. Kansas City. Why is it Kansas and Arkansas is not Arkansas? America, explain. Kansas City. So what's things like in Kansas City, Charles? Devil's Advocate, hello from Florida. Florida. How's things in Florida? I have a friend in Florida. He's a nurse there. He's saying it's pretty full of stupid people. Like people not following rules and stuff, not in general, I mean. So is Kansas open? Is it reopening? And the same with Florida. What's the tea on this one? I'd like to know. Just want to get some convo going, you know? By the way, how are we enjoying the drag race videos, the Kiki? Are we enjoying that? And did we like the background? Like having, because I set up the camera here. Did you like that background? I quite liked that background. I quite like talking from that point as well. Did you hear that? I think that's seagulls or a group of people. I think it's seagulls. I can't even see. I don't know. I'm opening the curtains. It sounded like seagulls. But what's happening? What's up, peeps? Like, how has your day been? Let's just talk. Let's just get things going. Let's get things rolling. They hate it, controlling, they're trying to catch me right and dirty, trying to catch me right and dirty. I have peeps, I have peeps, I have peeps, I have peeps, I have peeps. Is there a list to find out? Oh, participants, here we go. Charles, Devil's Advocate, me, la la la, cracking. Florida is steadily opening back up. Restaurants are open at 50% capacity. I'm really shocked that America is opening so quickly, considering it seems like it's spreading like wildfire out there. But I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming the restaurants have social distancing measures like screens and masks. Like, it can't be a nice atmosphere. You know, I go to a restaurant for more than just the food. In fact, half the time I go despite the food. Because, yeah, I mean, the restaurants are not opening it. They opened McDonald's here today. They opened 39 McDonald's for drive-through only for the first time since the lockdown. And I walked past, because where I live there was one or two open, and I walked past two, and like the queue was just ridiculous, like so ridiculous, It's like 30 people for each queue, and then the queue would snake around the building, and then that's just to get to the drive-through. So like the thing is here, and then you like come in, and normally just go into the drive-through, but you have to go around and then back around and then back into the drive-through and around, and then you can go off. And the queue is back out onto the road, blocking the road. And I'm like, Queen, it's just some fries. Like, go to the supermarket, buy a bag of them. You know, like, oh, and then there was litter. It was litter around it, McDonald's packages and stuff. And I'm like, 8 weeks without litter, and then all of a sudden it's appearing within hours. Drives me round the twist, like absolutely round the twist. Yeah, there's social distancing, employees wearing masks and gloves, and tables taped off. I mean, it's not, like, would you go to a restaurant like that? Would you go to a restaurant like sharing cutlery and plates and drinking glasses and like being, I don't know, just not having the same atmosphere and paying the same amount for it? I don't get it. I just don't, I can't. If you're gonna, like, you might as well just cook from home for that. You know, you don't even have to leave their house. I'm becoming such a hermit. I really am. I'm like, I don't want to go out, but at the same time, I do want to go out. Anyone else feeling like that? Anyone else kind of like getting this fear of missing out, even though like there's nothing going on? I had that today. I was like, it's such a beautiful day and I want to be outside in it. And like some of my friends went to the beach with their housemates or with their friends at a socially acceptable distance. But like, you know, I didn't need to go out, so I shouldn't go out. You know, is that how it is? I feel like that's how it's supposed to be still. If you don't have to go out, don't go out. I went out for a walk. That's it. Didn't go to a shop or anything. It's really confusing. My participant list is very different to how many people are watching. I don't get that. Why? I don't understand. I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand YouTube. If I understood YouTube, maybe I would be better at it. I don't know where everyone is though. I don't know where they all are. Maybe people are working. Are people back to work? Like if because generally speaking, my audience is American. Generally speaking. Oh, David. Now, David said something, and is he in my list? That's interesting. Shopping gave me anxiety, and about 2/3 people are wearing masks. Yeah, I mean, in the UK, not many are wearing masks. Well, where are you from, David? Like, where I am in the UK, I would say 10% are wearing masks. Like, it's not, around my way, it's not picked up. You're in California, interesting. Yeah, we're not wearing masks. We've been like advised that it's okay, but there's also been like news or information that's come out that said that they don't really do anything. I mean, some places, some shops are banning people wearing gloves because they're saying it's pointless. So I don't know. But yeah, around my way, I would say less than 10% are wearing masks. It's just minimal. People are not doing it. But I don't, as long as you're following the rules, I can only assume that then it would, I don't know. The masks is another layer of protection. I get that. Dylan, hello. How are you? Also, by the way, side note, does anyone know why Jeffree Star's new palette was controversial? I didn't watch his reveal video when it came out because it was like 30 minutes long. I was like, I ain't got time. And then I've seen he's done another. I know there's a bit of controversy, and then I saw that he's done a reaction, or he's done a video reacting to it or addressing it. So if anyone knows the tea on that one, let me know. Masks protect others. If others aren't wearing masks, they're putting you at risk. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but it's not really cottoned on here. There's very few people doing it. Yeah, Kaz, I've noticed more cars on the road. Not as many. Like, I was walking around at rush hour, and obviously there was not cars for rush hour, but they were all queued up at McDonald's. That's the rush hour, girl. But I have noticed more cars on the road, yes. Oh, God, I look like I'm going bald there. That's not good, is it? It's just the way that I've pulled my hair back, that's all. Yeah. I've noticed more cars. What is going on with it? What is going on? Am I going to have to retie this? I think I'm going to have to retie this. I honestly, I retie my hair so bloody often. Oh, dear. Oh. Oh. Oh, long hair. Long hair. What do we think? Do I go for the COVID shave? Do I shave it all off? Can you imagine? The thing is, I feel like I need to take my car for a spin because I'm worried the battery's going to go low. I mean, I take the car out once a week, just to the shops. I was going to do that today, but I'm going to go tomorrow. I'm going to treat myself to a pizza. David remembers me when I had short hair. I know. That was a long time ago. That was a really long time ago. You've been a sub for a long time then. Because I've had long hair for about, like proper long hair for about 2.5 years, and I've been growing it for about 2 years before that. So I hadn't been doing YouTube for that long with short hair before it started to get longer and longer. And I thank you for it, David. I do thank you for it, and I appreciate you coming back after my hiatus, after I went off the air, after production pulled the plug, after I got cancelled by the network, by life. Oh, it's been so warm today as well. It's knocked it out of me. It really has knocked it out of me. David, what do we think of the new direction of the channel? I know it's had a bit of a hiccup with the whole fitness thing, and I think I'm going to be starting a second channel for fitness because I think there's a market for it, and I still want to bring that to the table, but I don't know if this channel is the way to do it. Because then the people that want the fitness can go over there for it. And the people that want the drag race content and other content can be on this channel. What do we think? Good job, Kaz. You know what, Kaz? I didn't even think that I was like bringing my A game for that one. I mean, yeah, I think the sun had gotten to me because I've been walking for about an hour and a half before I got in, and I got in just before I started. And so I was like kind of pooped. And then I taught on that, and I was like, I don't know if I'm bringing it, if I'm pushing people. Maybe I overcompensated. I've had that before when I was like really tired, or I wasn't with it, or I was having a bad day, and I've taught a class, People then always come up to me, they're like, oh my God, that was like so motivating, or that was brilliant today. And I'm like, should I be tired and angry more often? That seems to do me well. I love the live chats. Just hearing you talk always brings a smile to my face. Oh, is it the accent? Is that what it is? Oh, Devil's Advocate saying loving the live chats. I'm liking them. I mean, like today, I have been in a bit of a grump today. I don't know why, but I have been a bit grumpy. And this evening I was sat on my balcony. I have a hammock now. So I was swinging in my hammock that makes the railings creak when I get into it. So it makes me a little bit anxious. And I was sat there and I was just like, what can I do that's going to like perk me up? And I thought, you know what, a live chat would be quite nice. It would just be nice if we can sort of get more people, because I know that I tend to do these on the spur of the moment. I don't tend to book them in advance. Maybe down the line that could work. But I do like the live chats when there's more people. It's nice, don't get me wrong, and I'm enjoying this. It's nice to have like more intimate one-to-one conversations and get to know you better. But I'm also looking forward to the day where we can have like maybe 10, 15, 20 people that we can kind of like have proper like conversations with. Like, this is lovely conversation, but then to have like a full-on in-depth debate, we need a few more people, I think. So I like this because it's a little bit more intimate. And then I like having bigger ones because you can talk about some bigger concepts with lots more viewpoints. I always seem so positive, and you love my laugh. Well, thank you very, very much. My laugh is weird. My laugh changes a lot. So yeah, one day I'll sound like Jimmy Carr, and another day I'll sound like Dr. Evil, and another day I'll just sound normal, and I don't know. And I try and see the positive. I try and see the good. I try to avoid drama and just try and look on the bright side, because there's just too much negativity. There really is. I get really fed up with drama and stupidity real quick. I get really over it very quickly. It's why I don't think I could run a drama channel. Like, yeah, you know, T-Spill and Jake Yonsei and stuff. I just don't have the capacity in me to tolerate the crap that comes out of social media. I don't know how they do it. They must be very strong-willed. Because you have to be so on top of everything at all times. And I mean, I hate Twitter. I hate it. I've made my profile private. I can't deal with Twitter anymore. I use it to see what people are talking about. Like, I'll check the trending maybe once or twice a day, but I don't talk and I don't get involved, and it's just the same. It's just the same conversations with the same outlook every single day. I just want something different. I want something to be challenging. You know, it's just favorite memories when you were running through Disneyland like a little kid. Don't get me started on Disneyland. I was supposed to be there 2 weeks ago. I was supposed to travel there 2 weeks ago yesterday. No, 2 weeks ago tomorrow. Yeah, I was supposed to be in Disneyland Paris 2 weeks ago tomorrow. And I was supposed to be in Rotterdam over the weekend. Just gone. So maybe that's why I'm in a grump today. I've had to cancel 2 holidays in 2 weeks. I watched that Jake Yonsei. Sorry, his voice is annoying and too full on. Yeah, I can't get through Jake Yonsei's videos, mostly because of the drama. I just find the drama to be so pointless. Like, completely pointless. And I just can't get that excited about it. I know that a lot of people, don't worry, David, I'm only joking. I know a lot of people enjoy the videos, and I'm not throwing any shade against them. It's just not my thing. The only time I've watched it is when it involves a queen that I'm like seriously interested in. But even then, see the headline or I see what he's talking about, and I'm like, oh, is that it? Girl, she's having a bad day. Get over it. You know, we all have them. Hi, I'm having one. Lasted a minute. Yeah, I can't last very long. I don't mind tea spill too much, but I think, isn't that the one which doesn't have like a narrator? It's just text, and sometimes I want something audible. You know, sometimes I want to not read. And like, at least Jake Yonsei is very good for that. He narrates, and I like that, but I just can't get involved in the topic, you know? Can't be dealing with it. Cannot be to be dealing with it. Also, apparently, I featured in one of another Drag Race reviewer's videos. Jimmy Pink apparently mentioned that she realised that I was back doing the Kiki. Because someone came to my video from her saying like, oh my god, she was talking about you, she was loving you, and I was like, I tried to find the video where I mentioned, I couldn't find it. If you've seen it, let me know. I'd love to see what she says. She seems really fun. Like, I love her attitude. Just like not really caring. It just seems so like cool. Where is the first place you want to go when you can travel again? Outside. Anywhere. Anywhere. Like, I hate flying, I'll go anywhere. Yeah. The thing is, you have to weigh up what's going to be there. Like, ideally, I would love to go to Disneyland Paris. I have an annual pass. I love, 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 love Disneyland Paris. But if I'm not going to get the same experience, then why would I go? You know? If it's the same experience but just with less people in the park, sold. Like, keep that, you know. I'm good. But if it's like, because I tend to travel alone, so for me, I don't think it's going to be, hey, Rel, I was wondering where you were. I was like, he's abandoned me. You're not here. I think, like, if they say, like, okay, we're going to do, you know, a smaller attendance in the park, and you kind of have to book it, and, you know, you can be in for 4 hours and blah, 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 then, like, no, I want to be there all day. But I don't tend to like do everything. Like, I don't tend to do the character meets at Disneyland. So I think that the experiences that I tend to have at Disney won't be affected as much. So there is potential that I could go to Disneyland. But I wouldn't mind going to America. Maybe not right now when things have calmed down. Wouldn't mind going to Greece, actually. Greece looks really nice at the moment. And it's not been affected too much, so I would be tempted with Greece. And Iceland. I'm so desperate to go to Iceland, it's not even funny. How many countries have I been to? Shall we add them up? I've been to some for like a day, or I've driven through some, so I'm gonna count those because I have been in the vicinity. Yeah, and not missing anything in the States at the moment. Yeah, I know. I'm hearing about it. I have lots of friends in America and in different places. One of my friends, my heart goes out to him completely. He was between jobs. So he just left one job and he was waiting for his next one to start. So he had the next job, but it hadn't begun. So he left one job, was in this tiny, tiny little window ready for his next job. And the pandemic happened, the lockdown happened, and they pulled his job. They were like, well, we're closed, so you don't have a job. And he's not been allowed unemployment benefit because of it, because apparently that's not a good enough excuse as to why he wasn't working. And I'm like, girl, that's ridiculous. And he's a veteran. So he's getting screwed over, and that's not fair at all. How many countries have I been to? Let's count. So I have been to, let's start with America. I have been to America. I've been 3 times. Once when I was about 5, went to Disney World in Florida. Don't remember much of it. I went when I was a little bit older, maybe early teens, maybe. Went to, where did I go to? Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia, then to Washington, D.C., and then up to New York. That was that one, yes. And then a couple of years later, just after, do you remember when they brought in the whole, you can't take liquids on board? There was a threat to American Airlines, not the company, but airlines in America. There was a threat, and they introduced the whole, like, you can't take anything on, and then everything has to be put in a clear bag. Like that's what then happened, the clear bag. But immediately when that threat came in, you couldn't take anything on board. So that happened on the Monday. I flew to America on the Thursday. That was horrible. Like, that messed me up. I didn't have a good relationship with flying anyway. And being in that airport, seeing the things that I saw messed me up, because it was horrible. The rules, although were somewhat clear, because they're saying you can't bring anything on, there were elements where people were still unclear about, like, well, surely I have to take something on board, like my passport and my tickets, and therefore I need like a bag to put them in. What can go in the bag? And there was some miscommunication, and there were people who were brokenhearted with the things that they were being told to leave behind at the security gate. I mean, from little things to like books. There was a travel book, and they were like, no, you can't take this travel book on. He's like, it's a book? What am I going to do with it? I'm going to read it. The thing is, you can buy that book in duty free. It was to get through security. No, it wasn't 9/11, David. It was the one a few years later when there was a threat, and they said you cannot take anything on the planes. Which then, when they eased that, it became the whole, hey, you can take 100 mil in a little clear baggie. But before that baggie and the little makeup bits and stuff came in, there was a period of like 6 to 12 months or something where you couldn't take anything. And that was instigated because of this threat on like the Monday. And I flew on the Thursday to America, so 4 days later. So at the absolute height of what's going on. And like there was someone that had to throw a guidebook away, which you can just repurchase. But there were people being told to throw away very personal items. And there was one woman who wanted to turn around at security. She had these stones. They were like stones, rocks, not gems, maybe gems. They might have been gemstones, like amethysts and stuff. They were in this little pouch, very small pouch, and they looked very innocuous. And I understand that the team are doing their job and that nothing was allowed on board, and she should have put them in her suitcase. But she brought them with her. And they were obviously very personal to her because she was getting very angry and very loud. And I was waiting to go through security. And she was explaining that they were her late mother's and that they were incredibly personal to her. And they said, you're not taking them on the plane. So she said, right, I don't want to board the plane. I want to go back. I want to keep these. I want to put them in my suitcase or whatever. I would rather get my suitcase back, put them in there, and then buy another flight. And they wouldn't even let her leave security. It was like, no, you are relinquishing these, period. And I thought that was just barbaric. Rather than just say, look, go back. I get that they're doing their job. So, you know, don't allow them on the plane, but at least let her go back and change her mind, get the suitcase back. You know, if they're that precious, So there was just lots of stuff that really sort of messed me up. But that was the last time I went to America. And when I was there, we did New York and then New Jersey, because we have friends in New Jersey. And then it was horrible, Ralph. It was horrible to watch. And I don't like flying. That was my first flight with my newfound fear of flying. So, because the previous flight I'd had was a year before to Italy, and I was fine. I'd always been fine. My dad had a private pilot's license. I had flown a plane. I was good. I had flown so many times, even on little planes, big planes. I'd flown them. I'd flown dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times. And I got this really bad flight back from Italy, and it was literally like as we were coming back, and we got a bit of turbulence. It was the first time I'd had like bad turbulence, and I like got messed up from that. So that a year later, I went to America for this third trip, the final trip that I had done so far. Touch wood. I hate using words like final when it comes to flying. But yeah, the last trip I went to America for. So that was a year later. So I was already on edge, and then to see this and be everyone so uptight, I was like, oh God, this is horrible. But the flight was fine, but I was a mess. And we did New York. We went to New Jersey to see friends. And then from there, we drove up through the Finger Lakes, the wineries. And then we went to Niagara Falls, and we went to Canada for the day. So I haven't done West Coast. No, I'd like to. I'd like to go to California, and I'd like to do Seattle because I have a friend up there, and I'd like to go see him. But I want to do Disneyland in California. And I want to just see California. I want to see Hollywood. I want to see LA. So I've done America. That's a very long way to say I have been to America. I have been to Canada for a day, for Niagara Falls, across the bridge. Where else have I done? Obviously, I've done England, and I've been to Scotland, but they're kind of one and the same. They're separate countries, but they're not. They're the same country as the UK. I have done France a number of times. I've done Portugal. Technically, I have done Spain, but in weird ways. So I went to Spain, mainland continental Spain, for half an afternoon. I was staying in France, the south of France, and I went up the Pyrenees, and I mountain biked down them. But to get to the point at the top of the mountain, you have to enter Spain. So technically, I have been in mainland Spain, but it was for an afternoon on a dirt trail. So, it doesn't really count. But I have also I went last Christmas, I went to Tenerife, which is off the coast of Africa, part of the Canary Islands, but is technically Spain. So technically I have been to Spain, but I've not actually been to mainland Spain, the Spain that everybody knows and loves. Where else have I been? I've been to Monaco. I've driven through Luxembourg. I don't think I've stayed there, but we have driven through Luxembourg on our way to places. I have been to Belgium. I have been to the Netherlands a few times. I was supposed to be there last week. I have been to Germany, drove through Germany, and it rained the whole time. I've never stayed in Germany, but I have been to Berlin. I flew to Berlin for a day, and I flew back. I wanted to go see the Christmas markets one year. So I live relatively near an airport. So I bought a cheap flight, and I went over for the day with my mate, and we had the full day there, and came back the same day. And I mean, it was cute, but it was cold, it was grey, it was rainy. I can't say Berlin left a particularly good impression on me. I'm not chaffing at the bit to go back there or anywhere in Germany. But, I'm willing to give it a go. I've lost count now. Let's just go through. I've been to Denmark. I went there for a week. I've also technically been to Sweden. I went for a day. So when I was in Copenhagen, there's a train. It goes across the Øresund, and in Sweden, the train is called the Øresundtåg. Swedish. Or, yeah, Orezentag. And in Danish, it's Orsental, even though it's spelled identically, except the O has a line through it. Orsental. And yeah, I went there for an afternoon, and that was beautiful. I loved Sweden. Loved Berlin. Definitely go back. Well, Kaz is saying go to Seattle. I want to go to Seattle. Devil's Advocate saying loved Berlin. Berlin did really very little for me. Like, I granted, it was cold, it was dark, it was winter, there was a lot of Christmas stuff, which is why I went. I didn't really do like proper Berlin, but I left feeling like, okay, like on to the next country, you know. Where else have I done? I've done Italy a couple of times. I love Italy. But I've never done Rome. I've done Genoa, Pisa, Milan a couple of times. I've done Venice. I've done the countryside around Venice. I've done, oh my God, the Cinque Terre is just amazing. But I've never done Rome. I've never been South Italy, and I've not done San Marino, which I'd like to do. Where else? I'd love to go to India, Kaz. I'd love to go to India. Munich, I've never been to Munich. It was just, we drove through Germany on our way back from Italy. We drove to Italy one time for a camping holiday, as you do. And from Italy, we drove through Germany on the way back, and we did 12 hours non-stop driving. My God, I read an entire book in that time, and it was the worst damn book I've ever read. It was awful. But I had nothing else to do. Speaking of the same holiday, we drove through Switzerland. So I have been to Switzerland, albeit briefly, but I have driven through it. Yes, Kaz, let's go to India. So I've been to Switzerland. I've done, where else have I done? I think that's it. Oh, I've been to Austria. Duh, like one of my favorite places. Yeah, I've done Vienna. Vienna was stunning. Oh my God. Vienna was unbelievable. I mean, I would move to Vienna. Vienna was just amazing. Oh God, it was just wonderful. Yeah, so I've done America, Canada. Let's not bother including the UK. France, technically Spain, Portugal, Italy, Monaco, Belgium, Luxembourg, Switzerland, Germany, Denmark, Sweden, that's 13, the Netherlands, 14. Anywhere else I forgot? I think I've done 14 countries. I think. But where is on my list? I want to do Iceland. I want to do, did I not say Austria? Then 15. I want to do Iceland. I want to do San Marino, even though it's tiny. It's like the size of Central Park. I would like to do Andorra. I like microstates. I would like to go to India. I'd love to go to Japan and Australia. I'd like to experience New Zealand, but I think it's going to be a bit far for me to, like, you know, want to sort of spend an inordinate amount of time there. Yeah, I'd love to see the world, but I also hate flying. If I could get there by cruise, that'd be fine. I'd be quite happy to do a round the world cruise. Must do New Zealand. I would like to do New Zealand, but I feel like New Zealand would probably be one of those ones that I would do if I was in Australia. Like, for me, Australia is on my list, but I'm like, if I'm going to go all that way, I might as well go to New Zealand as well, because it's a few hours flight. So you might as well do it. But I don't really have that much of a drive to go to New Zealand, which is funny because I teach a product that's from New Zealand, Les Mills. If you know Les Mills, I teach Les Mills, which is from New Zealand. But I'm not chaffing at the bit to, like, go to their headquarters or anything. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy their product, but I'm not like totally involved in everything that they do. Like some of them are. No shade, some of them are. The most beautiful country in the world. Yeah, I've heard it's very pretty. I've heard it's very pretty. And I've seen some pictures and videos of how stunning the countryside is. Yeah. Yeah. For me, I really like Mediterranean countries. I like the subtle architecture with the sea line, the coastline. I like that duality, you know, the old meets the ancient. I like that. You know, the Italian coastline in the Cinque Terre is just everything for me. And it's why I think I'd quite enjoy like Santorini, because it's just very interesting to look at, and it's in the most stunning place, and it's got sunshine, and the temperature is nice, and the climate is moderate. And any Eastern European countries, no. The furthest east I've ever been is probably Vienna or Malmö. Malmö in Sweden. That's as far as I've been. I mean, I'd like to go to Poland just to go to Auschwitz. I know that's probably a little bit controversial, but I would like to see it. I think it's important. I feel like it's one of those places that I think everyone should see, because it is pretty much a monument to the worst things in humanity. And I've had friends and family that have been there, and they've said that it's so incredible for all the wrong reasons. And the way that it's laid out is so perfect, that it's not like a tourist trap, it's an experience. And I would like to just, I don't know, maybe there's a morbid fascination there, but I'd like to go to Auschwitz. We so need to give up work and travel. Preach. Well, Kaz, let me talk. Let me tell you. If my PT stuff goes well, if YouTube goes well, because guys, did you know I'm a personal trainer? Hi Jay. I am looking at taking my business online, because at the moment I am tied to the gyms, but with coronavirus, meaning that gyms, we don't know what's going on, and there could be a lot of people that are not that interested in doing it in a gym environment, and there's plenty of people that will be liking working out from home. One of my goals was always to have like an online element, but actually if I can have like a full-time online business, it means that I can travel whilst working, and I like that idea, you know, going from place to place, maybe, you know, sitting down in Bali for a while and setting up shop for a month, and then moving on to the next place and doing it like that. That really is appealing to me, and that there is an element of like bringing that to YouTube if I can, because that is what I do, and it would be silly of me to not do it on YouTube. But I think I'm going to set up a separate YouTube for that, for all the fitness stuff. But there is definitely scope for online PTing or online programs, one-to-one, or even just like, I don't want to say generic workouts, but like, hey, this is a really good chest workout, you should give it a try, and this is how much I charge for it, you know. So that's certainly something that would give me the ability to travel whilst working. I'm someone that likes to maximize my time. So if I can do two things at once, I will do two things at once. Chris says fit. Why did I not think of that? Why did I not think of that? Chris says fit. But obviously, by the way, hi script code. But obviously I have let go of Chris says it. So, you know, I think it would just be called like Chris Thomas Fitness or something. Because I've even changed my name again. It's just Chris Thomas now. It's just easier. Again, back to Northern Croatia. I'd like to do Croatia. I'd love to do Slovenia, actually. I'd like to go to Ljubljana and the other parts of Slovenia, because it just looks like a fairy tale come to life. And I'd like to go to Liechtenstein just because it looks fun. Vaduz, let's go there. But yeah, so there's definitely scope, but I would have to kind of rebuild my YouTube career, because it was on a good trajectory. It's a troubling word for me, trajectory. And then I had to stop because of work. I just was too in demand with my classes, and I took a little break from YouTube, and it turned into 2.5 years. And I've got to prove to people that I want to be here, because I do want to be here. So I have to create content, I have to upload, and I have to kind of be present and available and show people that I'm back. I'm back again, but in a slightly different guise. Slightly. Longer hair, less underwear. Oh. We got peeps. Script coach. Why does that name ring a bell to me? Am I being really dim? Why do I know that name? But yeah, so there's plenty of places I'd like to travel to. You know what? There's almost a morbid fascination. Oh, see you later, David. Thanks for coming along. Love you too. I'd like to go to North Korea. Just to kind of experience the craziness, the wow, this is a place. How does this? Oh, that's why I know you. Duh. I'm saying, going, why do I know that name? But there was something about it. It looked out of place. I now get it. I normally see it on Instagram. Yeah, North Korea. What an interesting place. Oh, of course, Rel. Of course, you have to be very careful. I have no plans to go there. Don't get me wrong. There's. Hi, Christopher. From one Chris to another. Yeah, I have no immediate plans to go to North Korea. It just fascinates me. Like, I've probably seen every documentary about North Korea. I just find it morbidly fascinating. It's like it just. In logic states it shouldn't exist. As a country, it just shouldn't exist, and yet it does. And I'm like, wow, how? There's just a curiosity within me. I'm not going to, I don't know, what's the word? Say that I agree with everything they do, and I'm not going there to say I disagree with everything that they do. I'm just going there, I would be going there as a passive observer to just be like, okay, show me what you got. I'm just interested. I just want to see it. That's it. Better late than never, right, Chris? Christopher, what do you prefer? C, Chris, Topher, Kit, Christopher, Mr. Saker? How are we doing though? I'm going to probably wrap this up in a little bit because I'm getting a little bit tired. But how are we doing? Are we okay? Is everything funky dory? I remember when I was young. Christopher is good. Okie dokie. Roger Wilco remembered, hopefully. So I'm just checking something on Instagram. Christian here, another Chris. But you prefer Rel, or do you prefer Christian, or Chris, or what? Life is good. Beautiful weather today. Isn't it just? Christopher, where are you? Again, I keep forgetting. We've had beautiful weather here today. I like warm and sunny. I very much like that. Yeah, I guess I never know what day. I don't know what day it is. I haven't got a clue what day it is. Minnesota. Rel is good to avoid confusion. I mean, I can call you Christian. I don't care. Let me Google Minnesota specifically, because I think I know where it is, but I want to double check. Yes, I was right, up top. Woo! Minnesota. Minnesota, do they sell mini sodas? Like little Diet Cokes. Minnesota. Sacre bleu, I am in Iowa. Iowa, one of 3 states that begin and end in a vowel. The Great North Midwest. So obviously there's the Bible Belt in the middle. Is there a name for like the up-down line in America? And was Trixie from Minnesota? No, she was from Michigan. No. Where was she from? She always says, I'm from so-and-so, and they're all serial killers up there. Iowa, Alaska, Alabama. Oh, no, beginning with, oh, wait. Wisconsin, that was it. Maybe I'm wrong. Iowa, Alaska, Alabama, Ohio, Arizona. There was 3 that begin with I. 3 that begin with I. Indiana, Iowa, and the other one. That one. Illinois. Idaho. Okay, so maybe I was wrong. Oh, dear. Idaho, Udaho. Who you calling a hoe? Heidi Ho? That's Heidi's new name, Idaho. No, her name should be Heidi N. Closet, where the N stands for Nina. Heidi Nina Closet. Bitch, that is the best drag name you've ever heard. Actually, that's not the best drag name I've ever heard, because I came up with the best drag name ever yesterday. Seriously, it's the best. And I'll tell you in a minute. You probably know a lot more than a lot of Americans. I know more American states than British counties, like our equivalent. And I could probably name all American states. 50? 51? 50. Or 50 states. 50. I could name all 50 states. It might take me a while, but I could name them all. I can't do that in Britain. And I could place 20% of American states on a map. No, the drag name, I will tell you it, but I am reserving all rights to it. Ish. I've sort of stolen it from someone and turned it into a drag. I've stolen a funny meme and turned it into a drag name. So I might have to fight Jasmine Masters for it. Okay, can I tell you? Because I might use this. Who knows? Are you ready for this? The best drag name you've ever heard. One of the best drag names. One of the best. It's a drag meme, but it's funny. Ladies and gentlemen, Hamburger Mary's is proud to present the incomparable, the supremely talented, the one and only Anna Oop. Oh my god! So good! Anna Oop. Anna Oop. Anna Oop. This is Anna. Anna Oop. Oh, I am so happy with that one. Copyright, patent pending, trademark, registered. I am not the 1000th person to come up with that one because I've never heard it. Anna Oop. I mean, come on, but Jasmine would so, like, try and sue you over that one. Anna, ooh. Anna, ooh. It's so good, right? It's so good. What was the other one? Oh yeah, I think hiding in a closet is one of the best drag names I've ever heard. Name on Instagram is Christopher Thomas _. I'm trying to find like Chris Thomas something, like Chris Thomas _. But they're all taken and none of them are being used. None of them. Anytime I think of a new drag name, I look it up on Twitter to see if someone else has come up with it. I don't bother with Twitter. I can't be bothered. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. Yeah. I have a few drag names though. I really think I would be like a chameleon drag queen. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, chameleon. Chameleon. Yeah, I feel like I would probably like go to different parties dressed as different people, and they'd be like, "Oh, girl, it's Anna Oop," and "Oh, girl, it's you," because I have loads of drag names. I can't remember which ones I've told you. I think I told you about drag name, didn't I? Like the anti-drag queen, or the anti pop culture drag queen, Camille. Camille. I have a couple of drag names. Andrew says I have a couple of drag names that I refuse to tell people, but also know I'll never be doing drag professionally. Well, this Camille. Oh my god, Camilleon. Oh, that is sick, Rel. You upped my up game. Camilleon. That is so good. That's a good drag name. I think I come up with good drag names. I really do think I come up with good drag names. Oh my god, Kaz, are you ready? Camilleon is really good. But I do feel like I would be a chameleon drag queen because, like, I know that the Boulet brothers have a few different personas, but only everyone knows the Boulet brothers, but no one knows their personas because they go to the parties and no one recognizes them. And I think I'd be that. One day I'd be wanting to be like, Anna Oop, and then another day I'd want to be drag name, and blah blah blah. Is there a business in coming up with drag names? Is there really? Me blends in with the background, honey. But you know what I mean. Like, I have so many. There's one name that I don't want to share because that is either going to be my drag name. I don't see myself doing drag, but hey, I'm doing like a drag race channel. It's probably going to happen at some point. But I want to use the name for something else, potentially a book. So I can't really reveal the name. But it'd be a good drag name. Are there still snacks? I have half a mini roll left. It is 11 o'clock. So, Kaz, I've just thought of a good drag name or a good drag family. You could have like, I'm trying to think of like the funniest one that would work. Like Carrie on camping. Welcome to the stage, Carrie on camping. For you in America that don't know what that is, there was a whole series of films in the mid-60s into the early 70s. There was like, I don't know, like 500 made. I'm exaggerating. Probably about 50 made. They were all the same premise. It was like older guys in a Carry On Cleo. Yeah, Carry On Cleo, that kind of thing. They were all like slightly older guys with slightly younger girls and taking on different places and points. So like it might have been set in this, the Egyptian age, or it might have been set in Roman times. It might have been set in a hospital or a school or a campsite, and just the adventures they get up to. But it was always kind of naughty. You know, the older guy always got the younger girl, and there was lots of, you know, chest on show, mostly female. It's like cheeky fun, very Austin Powers. Think of that, very Austin Powers. But you know, in the 60s, with like, it's just they're like British cult classics. Everyone knows Carry On series. They're like an hour and a half long. They're so basic, and they have like the same cast every time, and it was just fun. You can tell they had fun making it. Low budget. There are some of them on YouTube. I've been watching a few of them when I can't find anything on Disney Plus. But yeah, coming up with drag names is so good. What was one I came up with the other day? Pamdemic. Little bit near the mark, but Pamdemic. Thought that was pretty good. Yeah, I love Anna Oop. Anna Oop. So good. Carry On Disney. Oh my god. A drag king name I love is Luca Zade. If there's any drag kings, so you can have it for free. That's brilliant. Luca Zade. Yeah. Oh, I'm looking at one. Here's one. Calypso. Calypso. Anna Oop is so good, isn't it? Anna Oop. It's just so funny. Like, Jasmine Masters is so funny. My name is Jasmine Masters and I have something to say. Oh my god, the bit where she's in the car and someone walks by her and she's like, that's a mood. That's a mood. We have peeps. We have peeps. Marianne Fucker. Am I missing something, Andrew? I don't get it. Marianne Fucker. I don't get it. Oh, Marie. Marianne. I still don't get it. RPDR UK Series 3 for me? Girl, it'd have to be like Series 5. I can't do Series 3. I've never done drag, and it would film next year in theory. Or maybe a little bit after. I can't get the experience in that time. Ironically, Rel, have you seen Drag Race UK? Side note, no, hold that thought. Hold that thought. Hold that one. Oh, Irish. Andrew. Oh, I should have realised. Burn. Should have realised. Irish. Marianne Fucker. Yeah. I get it now. We're only working in Ireland. Yeah, I don't want to be a baby queen. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. But I've only ever met one RuPaul's Drag Race queen. And it was the Vivienne. And it was before RuPaul's Drag Race UK was a thing. I met her at a magazine relaunch. It was the Gay Times relaunch. And I was there, and she was there. And I think she had just been crowned the ambassador, the UK ambassador back in the day. But the person I was with got chatting to her or knew her PA, or I say PA, her like friend that was there. And the four of us, and there was also Greg Owen. You know Greg Owen? Prep. I want prep now. He was there. That's where I met him. So it was like the four of us or the five of us, basically all hanging out the whole night. And Vivienne was so much fun. Like, she was so interesting and so nice. It was like it wasn't, because she didn't have like the following obviously that she has now, and we were all like, you know, just people that had been invited to this relaunch. We had like a small following of people. I had a tiny following. I was invited by Paul, I think it was, and so there was like all these people that had like little communities with them. And we just kept it real the whole night. We were just real talk, and it was so lovely. And it was just one of those really nice moments. And it was such a shame that I had to leave early because I was catching the train back. I think I was working the next day. And as the party started to ramp up and get exciting, I had to go. My last train, I think, was 11:30 or 12. And I was supposed to go earlier. And I pushed it and I pushed it and I pushed it and I pushed it because I was having so much fun. And it was literally like, if I don't go right now, I will not be home. I will not get home. So I had to go. But the Vivian was lovely. Absolutely amazing. And I was thrilled to see that she was on Drag Race UK. Okay, so Rel, where are you? Rel, you're American, right? Who else is American? Hands up if you're not British. And hands up if you've not seen. Start again, Chris. Hi, I'm Chris. Nice to see you. So, hands up if you've seen RuPaul's Drag Race, but you are not part of the culture of the UK. So, like, obviously, if you live in Ireland and you watch Drag Race UK, you're probably going to get the references because there is like a shared sort of culture there to an extent. We're kind of sort of in the same sort of bubble. Hi, Jose. Hi. Okay, so have you seen Drag Race UK? Because I know some Americans watched it and others didn't bother, and others tried to watch it and couldn't get into it. Because I've had an idea. He's an import. We imported him. So I had, right, Christopher, did you like follow it? Did you get it? Well, yeah, we kind of shared your culture with you, but we don't really talk about that. I've seen Dairy Girls, okay? Ma Murray. And I'll call him. And Toto the dog. Anyway, so I'm thinking of doing, I was thinking of doing Drag Race Revisited, like going back to the older series, like season 1 and season 2 and season 3, and doing the Kiki for them, like I do Drag Race reviews. I was going to do them episode by episode. But then I had a thought. I was like, Bing, what if, because it's fairly recent, what if I do a RuPaul's Drag Race UK Revisited, and I go through episode by episode, the show, the series, but I can also explain the references, because there's a lot of references in there that I think a lot of Americans would not get. And it's similar when I watch the American show, like Susie Orman, no idea. No idea. And then Katya's like, hey, I'm going to do Susie Orman. And I'm like, girl, and I don't watch, Real Housewives of America, etc. I thought I could do something like that, explaining the reference points, like Mary Berry. And who else was there? Gemma Collins. The juicy straightness. Kathy. So what do you think about that idea? What do you think? Let me know. I'm going to read the comments. With UK, not very familiar with UK culture. I was like RuPaul herself on the show. I know, right? There were some bits where that Ru is laughing. He doesn't get it. Like, he didn't get the Kim Woodburn thing. Less trouble with UK references than the drag references. I'd love to see that with the UK version for sure. I think I've seen something last year that explained each reference of the American series, episode by episode. The annotated drag race. Yeah, the annotated drag race. With notes. That's a great idea. I know Gemma from Celeb Big Brother. Yeah, but not everyone watches Celeb Big Brother. I'm claustrophobic, Darren! She's so funny. She's so funny. She's like Alyssa. She doesn't realise how funny she is. Kim Woodburn too, that woman. Don't you start with me now. Adulterer. So funny. Oh my God. She's iconic. That fight, that whole fight with Kim Woodburn, brilliant. Sometimes I feel like I need a translator. Yeah, there's a lot going on because it's not also just about some of the jokes. It's about who's saying it and why. Because, like, if you're a Northern Queen and you're making jokes about Margaret Thatcher, it's going to have like a little bit more gravitas than someone from the South, because Margaret Thatcher was like, well, the South like kind of survived and then profited out of the destruction of the North and the mining communities. And even to this day, there's still division over it because some are saying that the mines needed to be closed. And others are like, no, they should still be going on. We want to die of coal asphyxiation. Woo. I don't know enough about that whole topic to get involved in that, but I know a little bit to understand the reference points. Like the whole Davina thing. Red wig and silver dress. I don't think all I'd ever seen her in was a red wig and silver dress. And I knew of Davina. I knew Davina. Not personally. Rewatching UK Drag Race. UK Drag Race is so effing good. So good. Apart from the fact that everyone won every challenge. Like, everyone won every challenge. I don't think there was a single episode where just a single person won a challenge. For Christ's sake, one of them, 3 of them won. To be fair, though. It deserved to be all 3. The Rory John on YouTube is the one who made the reference videos, if you'd like to check that out. Is that the reference videos for America? Because, like, I can kind of follow them, and generally speaking, the really funny jokes are a lot more accessible. The Truck Destroyers! I mean, even that, some people don't get the reference. There is a reference in the Frock Destroyers. Not everyone gets it. I mean, hands up if you didn't even know the Frock Destroyers was a reference. I mean, obviously I knew, but... Oh, it was so good. Drag Race UK was like a breath of fresh air for the franchise because it was just so pure. It was so, like, uninterrupted. It wasn't stage managed. It was just like, just let them do their thing. Can I reach that note? Can I buggery? I can't sing. That's one thing I would love to be able to do, is sing. Like, sing well. I would love to be able to sing well. I have fantasies of going on X Factor. Be like, this is what I'm going to sing, and I'm going to wow you. I'm going to sing Let It Go in 26 different languages. Because I can. No BS. No BS? No BS? Kaz, what you chatting? Kaz, what you chatting, love? No BS. Do you not get the reference? Who don't get the reference for the Frog Destroyers? Because that's like one of my favourite things to talk about. The Cock Destroyers. Gay icons. Legends. They're so funny. I can't even remember their names. When she's driving a car, I'm driving for dick. No bullshit with UK. Yeah, exactly. There's no BS in the UK Drag Race. It's like, it's just, they lay it out. It's not overproduced. It's like, this is just it. Just laid out. And it felt like season 2 and season 3 of Drag Race America, which were like just so good because it showed naturally the cattiness and the bitchiness, but also the heart and the reality of the goodness. Whereas the more recent ones are so overproduced that there's just no real, like, it doesn't feel like there's much humanity to some of the queens that are on there. And I'm just like, just let them be. Are they just characters? No, they are 2 porn stars, sex workers. I don't know exactly what they would call themselves. And they just did this video and it went viral where they call themselves the Cock Destroyers. And they're talking about having orgies, and it just went viral. And they've become Rebecca is one of them, and who's the other one? Can't remember. And it was just such a fun, like, YouTube it. It's had about 600,000 views, but like they've had an entire career off of it. And like one of them is really like smart. She's got a law degree. She was a lawyer or something. She was like, screw this, I'm gonna get laid. So she just went into it, and she's making more money. But yeah, there's the main one is where they're in the bedroom and they're just like, you know what, we are, we're fucking cock destroyers. And it's just really funny. And then there's one in an airport. And they're just so larger than life. Was there a reference for the Rupita badge? I get they couldn't give out dollars, but why the name? Okay, Jose. Okay, Jose. Albert. Hey. So, I'm so glad I get to answer this one. So there's a TV show in the UK. I believe it is the longest running kids TV show in the world. It may be the longest running TV show in the world. I'm not sure, but I know it's the longest running kids TV show in the world. It's been going forever, like 50 or 60 years. There's a show called Blue Peter. And Blue Peter was it's the ship. Like it's like God, what is it? It's a topical kids TV show. So, wow, this is hard to explain, but it is a cultural phenomenon in the UK. It doesn't have as much prominence on TV as it used to have. It used to be on like 3 times a week at like 3:30 or whatever it was. So kids would come home from school and they'd watch Blue Peter. And there would be things, a little bit of everything. It was a really good topical show. So there would be crafts, like the famous line, here's one I made earlier. A little bit like Sesame Street, but not like in a fake setting. It was real presenters talking about real things, doing real things, not in like a fake environment. So, but they're kind of teaching you lessons. That's it. It's the naval flag, and it's always got like a few presenters, and it was always like a status to be like, I was a Blue Peter presenter, and they were all adults, but it was aimed for children. There'd be things like crafts. So they'd say, right, here's something you can make from stuff that you've got at home, like yogurt pots and toilet roll tubes and sticky back plastic was always the famous one. And then there'd be the famous line, here's one I made earlier. So they're trying to glue it together and it's not working. And then they get rid of it. Here's what I made earlier. And it's perfect. But they also talked about things like when mobile phones started to become a thing, like that's how old the show is. They had a demonstration on mobile phones. They've had demonstrations on, like the internet and computers and music, and they have artists come in. They have, like animals come in. They have their own animals in the studio, but then they also have ones that come in. It's such a unique concept. There isn't really anything that's quite like it that I can kind of. It takes the best of every kids' TV program and puts it together. So there's arts and crafts, there's documentary, there's education, there's nature, there's technology, there's science, there's history, there's geography, there's charity work. Every year they had a charity appeal and you had to send in stamps or send in shoes or whatever it was they were after. Just the Blue Peter Garden, oh my God, the tortoises and Shep, the animals, and Carrie and Oki, the cats, and just loads and loads of stuff. It was, you never quite knew what you were going to get, but it was really wholesome, good television that didn't treat children as idiots. It treated them as young adults. And I think that's why it's had so much appeal. But if you got a Blue Peter badge, you could get into like museums for free. There was loads of places you could go for free. So it was like it was amazing to get a badge. I have one. I have an official Blue Peter badge. And there was different Blue Peter badges you could get. There was like a green one if you were like an eco warrior or something. And there was a blue one, which meant something else, but I got the white one. Yeah. But I think because back in the day you had to pay to get into museums, but now most museums are free. So I think like the gravitas of the Blue Peter badge is diminished. Because when I got it, I got a little um, booklet that told me everywhere that I could go for free, and like there was loads, kind of like a key to the city. Yeah. So I've still got a Blue Peter badge somewhere. Um, but I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, Kaz. I believe that the museums and stuff you had to pay to get into, and then I think Tony Blair, when he came into office, kind of got rid of all the charges for the main museums because, like, the sign, "I'll see you later, Christopher. Nice to see you. Have fun at your family barbecue. Stay safe. Social distance. Have a burger for me." And yeah, and I think Tony Blair then got rid of a lot of the fees because you can still go to like the Natural History Museum for free and the Science Museum for free and all the art galleries for free. Like London is a great place to be a tourist because all the big museums are free to enter. They do have like some paid elements, like a special exhibit, and you might have to pay to get into that. They do sometimes ask for donations, but you don't have to. So like when I'm bored in London, or if I need to kill an hour or two, I'll go to a museum. I'll just walk around. You go to like a small section, have a look around. Okay, cool. Get warm, go back out again. So yeah, my Blue Peter badge I don't think gets me in a whole load of places, but I think there's probably still a list. What if should I check? Let's have a check. But how do you get one? There's different ways you could get one. I got mine because I wrote in. It was part of the school project. My year 4 teacher, Mr. Mandry, was he used to work in TV or something, and one of our projects was to write to someone famous, and we all wrote to different people, and I wrote to the new Blue Peter presenter because I loved watching Blue Peter, Connie Huck. And I wrote to her and I was like, hey, like, I'm doing this school project, and year 4 is like, I was like 7. And yeah, I wrote to her, and it was just kind of like not to get anything back. Like the project wasn't to see who can acquire the most stuff. It was just to kind of know that there is a way. I think the idea was to learn to know that there's a way to interact with this medium, which was whether it's television. Pretty much the internet wasn't really a thing back in those days. So I think it was like to reach out and to understand that there's a way to communicate with the thing that's in front of you. So I wrote to her and I got a thing back saying like, thanks, blah, 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 yeah, cool. And it had a badge with it. And I wasn't expecting that at all. Because normally you have to win a competition to get a badge. And I just wrote in. So, hi. One of my friends, though, wrote to, what's his name? The guy from Last of the Summer Wine, the smallest one, not Cleggy, the other one. He wrote to him because he really liked the show. It was a show for older people, and my mate who was like 7 just loved it, and he wrote to him. I want to say Compost. Why do I want to say that? Wrote to the one with the little hat and sort of the slightly rough one. Anyway, he wrote to him, got a signed photo back, and then like really sadly, a few years later, the actor died, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, Joe, that picture's gonna be worth a fortune." Can't remember his name. There's a fab French and Saunders sketch where Dawn French steps on the Blue Peter turtle and proceeds to walk with it on her foot for the rest of the show. I've not seen that. I like French and Saunders. I do. What am I Googling? Oh, Blue Peter badge. Earn Blue Peter badges. All right. Apply for a blue badge. Oh, the silver badge. Oh, the orange one seems to be to enter competitions, and the green one is, I think, Eco Warrior. Oh my God, there's 8 that you can get. What? Oh, okay. So the blue badge is awarded for sending in interesting letters. Hi, it's me. Stories, makes, pictures, poems, good ideas for the program, and for having appeared on the show. Once you've got a blue badge, you can apply for a silver badge. Green badge is an award for sending in letters, pictures, and makes that about the environment. I wonder if I can collect all the Blue Peter badges. Now there's an idea. Silver badge is awarded to blue badge holders who go on to make an extra effort. For example, if you won a blue badge for an interesting letter or email, you could win a silver badge by sending us something different, such as a make, picture, or a poem. Fan club badges. All right. Music badge. That's pretty. There's the music badge is like a rainbow. Very special badge designed by superstar Ed Sheeran. Hands up if you have heard of Ed Sheeran. I'll give you a minute. It's awarded to those who show off their passion for music by learning a new instrument or being part of a musical performance. Sport badge. Oh, that's cute. For getting active. Orange badge, given to winners and runners-up of the competitions. You have a chance of winning one. And then the gold badge is very rare. Only a few awarded. Being solely responsible for, oh wow, outstanding achievements like saving someone's life, showing amazing and unique bravery, courage, and citizenship. And on rare occasions, extraordinary adults can also be awarded a gold Blue Peter badge. Recipients are high-profile personalities who are considered to be role models inspiring the nation's children. Okay, so I went to school with Ed Sheeran. Mic drop. Yeah. Do you want to do a story time? Do you want to do a story time on this one? Was I friends? Have I recovered? I haven't recovered from school. School scarred me. Ed Sheeran was lovely. I did know him. We were not. No, not Cleggy. The other one from Last of Summer Wine. So I have to check his name. Hold on. Because that's going to annoy me. Hold that thought about Ed Sheeran. Compo. I said compost, didn't I? Compo. Thanks, Kaz. Yeah, I said compost. Yeah, Ed Sheeran. So, okay, here's the tea. Ed Sheeran was 3 years below me. I knew him. So when I was in year 8, he was in year 5. I knew him because of 2 reasons. One of them was I was a school prefect, obviously. So when it came to rainy days and the kids were not allowed to play outside, the responsibility to look after the children, because if you're in America, junior school goes up to year 8. And then you go to senior school, which is year 9 to year 13. So up to year 8, the year 8s are the highest year you can go to. When it rained, it fell upon the prefects, the team of prefects, to keep the rest of the school in line, basically. Like the teachers were sort of there, but generally speaking, the prefects had to control the rest of the school. And that's difficult to do when you're, 1 year old, like if you're trying to look after the year 7s or the year 6s. I was in charge of the year 5s. There was 2 of us. And the beauty of it was, though, that the year 4 and 5 block was in one building, whereas everyone else was kind of spread out. It was in one building. So there were 4 prefects designated to the 4 classrooms. Or was it 2? I think it must have been 2, because there was only like 8 or 10 prefects. So it must have been like 2 prefects for this whole building. And it was me and I think it was Sinead. And that was quite handy because then we could have like another prefect there to help us. Anyway, I digress. Ed Sheeran was in year 5. So I got to know him whenever it rained. He was in the class that I had to look after as a prefect. And he was very friendly. He was very nice. Side note, he started the Pokemon Club at my school. Oh yes, we used to meet it was Friday night, and we used to like play Pokemon cards and games and stuff. He started that with his mum. But I also knew him. We weren't close, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to like ride his coattails. I just did know him. We had interactions, we had conversations. Can't say that I remember him being musical though. He was quite shy. He was the Pokemon Club guy. You know, he made Pokemon Club membership cards. Anyway, his older brother, Matthew, was in my class. And I would say we were very close. We were both kind of on the fringes. You know, we weren't the cool kids. I was certainly not the cool kid. I think Matthew was kind of in that sort of zone. We were on the edges, the fringes, and, you know, kids on the fringe. Now, there's a book title. Kids on the fringe tend to stick together. And so I would say we were very close. Not very close, but like I would say we were very good friends. I would gravitate to him and I would probably say, I think he'd probably say he gravitated towards me and a few of the others. And we would kind of like all hang out. And yeah, I knew him and he loved his cat. He always had this picture of his cat, Matthew, his older brother. And the annoying thing is they left whenever they left. They didn't come to the senior school with us. I think they might have left. No, because Ed Sheeran was in year 5. So I think they left at year 8. Matthew left in year 8 and took Ed with him to this other school. And it's a shame because there are a few people, there's only a small handful of people that I always said I would like to get in contact with again. Because for the most part, my class carried on to the senior school, and that's where I started having major problems. So I was invited this year to a reunion and I didn't go. Probably should have, but I forgot about it. So, but there's not many people that I wanted to get in contact with. But I've always said, before Ed Sheeran was a thing, I always said there's only a small handful of people that I would like to get in contact with, and one of them was Matthew. Whether he'd remember me now, God knows, because it was so long ago. But I mean, we're talking 20 years, people. But yeah, he was one of them. But I can't do it now. I can't get in contact with him now because then he'll obviously be like, oh, he's, either he doesn't remember me or like he just wants access to Ed Sheeran. And I'm like, I don't even listen to his music. Bye, Kaz. Thanks for coming along. Be good. Well done today in class. Yeah, so that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. But, I mean, hey, I'm going to be bigger than Ed Sheeran one day. Ops. It would be funny if I bumped into Ed Sheeran, because he still lives near me. So if we ended up, because I know that he hangs around, I don't go to where he lives, like his town, his village, whatever, where he lives. I don't go there. I have no reason to go there. I took a friend of mine there. I took an American friend of mine there last year to see the sights. And I was like, oh, this is the charity shop that Ed Sheeran donates everything to, because he donates a lot of his shoes and a lot of his clothes. And so like this charity shop is like a hot spot. But yeah, it'd be funny if I bumped into him and I'd be like, I know you. And he'd be like, yeah, I know. But like, no, I mean, you were that kid who started the Pokemon Club. And he'd be like, oh, shit. Oh, dear. Do I personally know any other famous people? What, as in like, have I got their number and I can chat to them? If I do, I don't know they're famous. It depends what you call famous. I'm not someone that like collects people. Okay, so obviously I don't have any communication with Ed Sheeran. I've met a lot of famous people. Not because I'm stalking them after a concert, but because I happen to end up in a situation where I get to meet them. So I met the Vivian at a magazine launch. That was where I met Greg Owen. I would say within some communities, Greg Owen is very well known. He's an activist for PrEP in the UK, and he's done amazing things for PrEP in the UK. I mean, people who you've known before they became famous, no. No. Yes. No. Depends what circles you move in. None that I'm like close with. I went to school with a couple of people who became very famous opera singers. Like very famous. One of them is really famous in Russia. And the other one is, I would say, a household name in the UK. But she doesn't remember me. She came into my gym once, and I really don't think she recognized me. And I wasn't going to be like, oh my God, because I didn't hang out with her. She's just her. But I have met Prince Charles and Camilla more times than I can remember. I have had dinner in the presence of the Duke of Edinburgh. I have interviewed I've interviewed Bob Geldof. I was a reporter for a while, and he was the first person I ever interviewed. I met the Prime Minister when it was Gordon Brown. I went to 10 Downing Street to have a meeting with him, actually. I don't, there's no one that I'm like, yeah, you know, super fake. Like, you know, it's not like I'm like, oh yeah, me and Adele were pop pals at school. You know, different schools, love. I don't have anything like that, but I have met famous people. I mean, I've met me. Yeah, no, not yet. I have one drag queen's number, but we don't talk much anymore. But I don't want it to sound like I'm collecting drag queens. We just had some good conversations and we exchanged numbers, and that was that. Modesty is why we love you. I am the most modest person. I'm the Trump of modesty. I would love to kind of be in a position of influence, just because I think that my outlook is something that some people can relate to. You know, I'm not bothered by like, oh, let's do this brand deal with, you know, a detox tea and, you know, all that stuff. Like, one of my friends is an influencer in London, and every post on Instagram is some ad that he's doing. And I'm like, yeah, you've got a lot of followers, but like, girl, where's the content? I know that's so bitchy of me. Well, thank you, Rel. Oh, and Ruth says, love the wallpaper. Purple and brown look good together. Who knew? If you say so. That was not me. That was there when I moved in. I haven't got around to dealing with that yet. I want to paint it grey. Rel says you could definitely be a positive influencer. Well, thank you. I like to think I would bring an element of, like, you know, reality. Excuse me. Like, sometimes I look at some of these influencers and they do live in their own little bubble. And I don't buy into the drama. I don't like Twitter. This whole notion of cancel culture is horrendous. No platforming, I find awful. you know, I feel like I approach life in a very different way, and every time I seem to like talk about it, I touch wood, I tend to get like a warm reception to it. Even though sometimes what I talk about can be a bit controversial, I like to think I approach it in a way that is accessible, and I'm never trying to push my own agenda. I think that's the biggest thing. I think there's a lot of people where you listen to what they say and you're like, yeah, but you would say that because you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that. And I'm like, look, if I say this, it's because it's an objective opinion. I look at something from both sides and then let's talk about the middle point. But sometimes the conversation has to be had. You know, like, I think the controversy around Jeffree Star's new palette is because it's called Cremated in the middle of a global pandemic where 300,000 have died. But, and I know some people were trying to like cancel him. Do I think, like, from the little that I've researched into it, it seems that people are very much like, you either have to try and cancel him or you have to like completely support him. There's no middle ground. I'm sat there like, do I think that some people are overreacting to this idea of it being called Cremated? I think some people are overreacting to it. He's famous for saying deceased. But do I also think it was a bit of bad timing? Uh-huh. Yeah, I think that was pretty bad timing. But at the same time, this stuff is made months in advance. This wasn't made. The concept and the whole thing wasn't done in March. It was done a long time ago, and there's like a timeline of doing it. And he probably A, wanted to sell the product, and B, probably underestimated the backlash from it because he probably didn't think of it as that. You know, like there's going to be a connection. So this is where I feel like my middle ground is in. Do I think it was a awkward timing? Yeah. Do I think the reaction is too much? Also, yeah. Do I think he should have pushed it 6 months? Also, yeah. I would say he probably would have been fine pushing that to October. But he probably has something else in the pipeline, so then where would it go? You know, this is a huge launch. Where would it go and fit in terms of marketing? It's not ideal. I don't think there was really a way for him to really win. There was always going to be some issue with him launching it. So he's probably just gone, you know what, let's just take the heat on the chin. I've heard about some of the questionable things in this past, but I don't research into it because it depends if they still believe them now. I think I think everyone probably has done or said or thought things in the past that you didn't know better, and now you know better. So if you now know better, if you've learned and you've educated, should you then be judged for when you were not educated on that topic? Because that's always changing. You know, all the people that think they're woke now, in 20 years' time, are going to look back and go, did I say that? I thought I was so woke. Like, now I know that that was really, you know, whatever. It's always evolving. If they have grown from that point, can we judge them? It's almost as if people can learn and grow and become better people. Such a foreign concept. That, you know, the whole, what was his name? Who was the one that was supposed to do the Oscars? Kevin Hart? Who's James Gunn? Was it Kevin Hart? Some tweets from 8 and 10 years ago. Like, girl. Like, the biggest moment of his career, and someone had to go through his Twitter account to find that. They deliberately wanted to tear him a new one. Girl, And that's probably the same person, this is me being a bit stereotypical here, but I wonder if that same person that went to find that issue would also then say that people of colour don't get enough representation in the media. Because we don't know who found that tweet. And that's why social media is very dangerous, because what was said 10 years ago that would be kind of funny, and he might, he said that he's like grown from that experience. Why should that tweet stop his career? When he sort of goes, oh, okay, well, that was 10 years ago. It was a different time. Because it was a different time. You could say things even 5 years ago that you can't say now, or that you shouldn't say now. Guardians of the Galaxy writer-director. I have never seen Guardians of the Galaxy, so I don't know I don't know the tea. Tell me the tea on that one, and we'll talk about it. Got fired by Disney over tweets. Clearly showed he'd grown. Is now back on the. Oh, I see. Well, exactly. And we don't know the full story, and it's just crazy that like social media can have so much power. Like, I understand, Sherry Pie. She admitted on social media the allegations. The allegations came out. They went viral. She admitted them. A few days later, that's her. But a few days later, someone dredged up Brita Filter's controversy from like 3 years ago. And because people don't fact check, people do not fact check. People thought that Brita was responding because it was screenshotted and it appeared on your timeline today. People think that Brita said that today and about her allegations against her. That was 3 years ago, and I believe all those allegations were dropped. The legal process was followed and they were dropped. And people are like, oh, Brita's up in the... They don't do their research, and they just listen to someone who posts something and they just assume that what they're doing is honourable. It takes a half second to research. Here's one. My colleague, ex-colleague, I would say, because we don't work in the same place anymore, he has been very critical about coronavirus. And a while ago, I think it was before we went into lockdown, or maybe as we just went into it, he posted a video from it looked like a Chinese website, but it was Cantonese. And I was looking at it, I was like, this isn't, yeah, that was it. He posted a video from a Chinese/Cantonese website, and it was talking about the video showed police beating up members of the public, and he posted saying, look, this is the reality, this is about Chinese brutality, or whatever it was. I can't remember the specific but I remember seeing the video, and I looked at it and I was like, there's something not right here. I think was it South Korea, was it Wuhan? Whatever it was. I think he was talking about South Korea when it was having their explosion. He's like, this is what's happening in South Korea or something. You gotta be careful. And I watched the video and I was like, this is not where they're saying it is. This is not Wuhan, and this is not South Korea or whatever. Because I know what the South Korean language looks like. And I thought, this looks like Hong Kong. And I Googled it. I translated it. That was it. I translated the title. And there was something about Edward Street. And I was like, there is no way that in Wuhan in China there's a street called Edward Street, but there might be in Hong Kong that used to be owned by the British. Googled it, and it turned out it was a video from like 6 months previously to do with the protesters and the umbrella movement, because they all had umbrellas and stuff. But obviously they're all wearing masks, so it looks like the coronavirus outbreak. It took me less than 2 minutes from watching the video to working out what was really going on. And my acquaintance posted that, thinking that that was a video taken the previous day, and that it was news being reported on about police brutality beating up members of the public because of coronavirus. And it wasn't. It was to do with the umbrella riots in Hong Kong. Fact check. Fact check. We have the world's knowledge at our fingertips with the internet. There's no reason not to fact check. It's so much easier to cancel someone than to rationalize anything. It is. Do you remember? And it's hard to get uncancelled. It's so easy to get cancelled, and it's very hard to get uncancelled. Do you remember Johnny Depp, the issue with him and whoever his partner was? I want to say Amber something. Amber Heard? Was that Amber Heard? I don't know. Basically saying that he had been beating her up and everything, and he was cancelled, and like it was being threatened to be pulled from the new Enchanted Beasts, or whatever it was, Wizarding World of Harry Potter film. He was going to be pulled from that, and J.K. Rowling stood by him, and she was in the line of getting cancelled, and everyone was in the line of like, this is ridiculous, I can't believe you've done that, because everyone just jumped on the bandwagon when the thing came out, because everyone's so worried about looking virtuous. And Fantastic Beasts, yeah, everyone's so concerned with like looking virtuous, but behind the scenes, I mean, I know a lot of people that like on the face of it are like, you know, super woke and then tell some really questionable jokes behind the scenes. And then it turned out that actually whilst it was an abusive relationship, it actually looked like she was beating him up and he was keeping quiet about it. And I remember the backpedaling. I didn't look into it because obviously I'm not a policeman. I'm not investigating this. I don't have the information. I do not have enough to be making a call like that, nor am I being asked to make a call like that, nor should we be involved in making a call like that. If you happen to hear about something like that and it goes into the public sphere, we as a public should say, you shouldn't really be like talking about that until we know the information. Hi, Daddy. Yep, this is Chris saying it. And the way that it just like Johnny Depp was being cancelled, like cancelled, and then it actually looks like she was beating him up. The backpedaling, the silence was what really got me. Just, it was like, oh, and all of a sudden, everyone went very quiet. And he's not been looked at since. If you're going to come that hard and that fast, when you get it wrong, you need to apologize. Or just don't come hard. But don't come that hard, don't come that fast. Understand that it is not your job. Like, sometimes there has to be those fights. I get it. There are some cases, some very horrible cases in America where there is some brutality. There are some very questionable decisions being made by some high-ranking officials where certain things are not being investigated where they should be, or some people go down for something that really doesn't look like they should be going down for. And sometimes the public have driven that to a good justification, but you can probably count on two hands the amount of times in the last 5 years that they've managed to do it. Oh, thanks, Danny. I've had an idea. Read that, guys. Hold that thought. I've had an idea. Read underwear reviews. I would like to know what you think before I go to bed. But there's a lot of times where videos are shared. A friend of mine, because in the UK, I think, touch wood, I think we tend to have a little bit of faith in our police officers, but every now and then there is some distrust that has obviously seeped in from America. And a friend of mine posted a clip of based in Britain, of a black guy with his child at a petrol station. And all the clip only showed you the police officers getting into an argument with the guy and then tasering him, and in front of the child. And there was a lot of uproar about this, and I was a bit shocked because the police don't tend to do that. Like, they rarely use tasers. I mean, I know police officers. I have friends that are police officers, and they have explained to me some of the high regulations that are involved in this. Like, the ones that carry guns, even if you shoot around and it doesn't even hit anyone, for whatever reason, if you shot it, you're automatically put on leave for 2 months. Like, automatically, while they investigate. Why did you shoot a bullet? Oh, it was an accident. Okay, well, we still have to investigate. Oh, because of, this situation. Okay, we have to investigate. For whatever reason, you have to investigate. And tasering is just very, 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 very brutal. And generally, the British police tend to, like, not all of them carry guns. So, most of them just carry like a truncheon or pepper spray. And they tend to they try to use their words to get the point across. And so this small clip, and my friend posted it, and there was a few people saying like, no, going off on one. And I was like, I'd like to see the rest of the video, please. Because I am struggling to believe why 2 police officers would think it's okay to taser a guy in front of his child at a petrol station. For me, that kind of says there's probably something bigger going on here. Maybe there's been a threat, because a petrol station, he was filling up. Petrol station. It kind of suggests to me that maybe there had been a call that the car was stolen, or there was a weapon in it. Maybe maybe he'd kidnapped the kid. Although the child was going, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," maybe he kidnapped the kid from the mother. Who knows? We don't know. Or maybe it was totally innocent. Maybe the police were brutal. But we don't know. But the video was edited. It was cut in such a way that you only saw the bit they wanted you to see. I'd like to see the beginning of it. I'd like to see the end of it. I'd like to know the news article that came with this. I'd like to know the police statement on this. I'd like to know the full story on this before I start going off on one on the internet about how these 2 police officers are totally out of line. We don't know they were. They might be. I'm not saying they're not. But it might have been actually them doing their job. And that's the issue that we have. There's not enough people. They're just seeing a clip and they're going, okay, I've made my decision. Did you ask any follow-up questions? No, I've seen what I needed to see. Girl. And sometimes the public need to push for some things. There was that one recently of the American guy who was running, the black guy that was running, and the 2 white guys killed him or something on the side of the road. And that did really seem to look like they were totally wrong. And the police were trying to hush it up. And the public kind of pushed that, and they got arrested. Good, but the police should be doing that anyway. But when you then go off on one and try and destroy an entire career, and then it's like, oh, whoops, we didn't have all the information. Bye. Girl, come on. As Ruth says, no apologies, no accountability. Script coach, retractions are always in tiny print. That. And it's tough, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you get it wrong. Sometimes you do get it wrong, and you make a judgment. I've done it, we've all done it. There are moments, and this is why, because I've had those moments where I've had to sit back and I've gone, you know what, I made the wrong call there. I need to become a better person over this. I jumped to a conclusion that I shouldn't have. And former cop, that was it. He was a former cop. And I tried to then be a little bit more open-minded to the other possibilities. And remember as well that unless I am specifically being asked, it's not necessarily my place to give my judgment. I talk about Drag Race and we talk Kiki and that kind of stuff, but it's not like serious. When it comes to these bigger things, I'm like, unless I really feel like a real miscarriage of justice has happened, it's not my job to comment on things like whether there was a domestic abuse claim between Johnny Depp and his partner. It's got nothing to do with me. Mulderbury, that's it. Cops can be scary, they can. But there has to be a way for people to find trust in their authorities. If you don't trust your authorities, then, girl, that's like anarchistic. You have to at least trust them. And if they prove that trust is not well placed, then something must be done to fix it. So vote for the person that's going to fix it. If there's a senator that says, I think that this is messed up and I'm going to put this at the front of my campaign, then vote for them. Get them in. Show the people that that is what you want on the ballot. That's what you want to be looked at. Because they'll just, ultimately, people in government, I don't like to say people in power, but that's kind of what it is. Because the people have the power, but the people up there, they like the power. So you have to kind of threaten to take that away from them. So, for example, the Brexit referendum, without getting into Brexit, the only reason the Conservatives put Brexit referendum at the front of their campaign for the 2015 election was because UKIP were stealing all their votes. They were at that time, they were in coalition with the Liberal Democrats, and they were hemorrhaging voters. Their core voters were going to UKIP, and they knew that in the coming election they would lose everything if they didn't dangle the promise of a referendum. And they thought, I think, that they could win it their way. All the voters came back. The Conservatives got a majority. They got their power back because they were like, look, we get it. That's the hot topic, so we're going to address it. That's what it is. That's what it is. Why? Everyone loves my wallpaper. I hate it. I'm sorry, wallpaper. It has to go. Hi, Matt. Sorry, Matt Just. I've just seen your comment in the middle. Hi. You know, so if you've got someone like, if there's enough public appetite for something, you can do it. I mean, the 2004 French election, was it 2004 when, hang on a minute, when was I at school? Yeah, so the 2004 French election, I think it was 2004, the runoff was between whoever it was. I want to say Chirac, or was it the 2000 election? Whatever, between Chirac and Le Pen, the dad, not Marine Le Pen, her father, Jean-Marie Le Pen. Jean-Marie Le Pen was part of the Front National, super right-wing, kind of racist. And he ended up in the top 2 in all of France in the runoff for the presidency of France. Now, for you to get to that point takes some damn doing. In the runoff, Chirac won by a landslide, but the French made their point. They were worried about immigration. Whatever you think on that is what you think on that, that's fine. But the French, at that moment in time, were worried about immigration. They wanted to make a statement. They voted for him, but when it came to the runoff, all of his core voters, they didn't really want him in. They just wanted to say, look, we want to talk about this. So then they all voted for Chirac. He got in by a landslide. The following election, so I think that's the 2008 election, every single contender for the presidency had immigration as their number one thing to talk about, because you knew that they were not going to get power, or they weren't going to get into government by ignoring that issue. It's happening in Germany right now. Angela Merkel is ignoring the fact that a lot of Germans are very worried about immigration. Rightly or wrongly, they're worried about immigration. They're voting for the AfD. Her core user base is falling. Her ratings are falling because she's not dealing with it. Deal with it. Say why you think it's a good thing. Do it. Ruth, I wouldn't want to live with this wallpaper, but I do celebrate it. Love it. Jose, 2002, thank you. 2002 to 2006. It's message voting, which always leads to disaster. Not necessarily, because it's one of the only ways that we have to do it without a really big upswell of support. And it's very rare that the public gets so behind a cause. The French are very good at it. Not just in elections. You know that if the French have an issue with something, they get to the streets. They go on strike. They block the ports. They are the masters of stopping things coming into the country. Block the ports, block the trains, block everything. No one can get in or get out. And it's like the London Underground. I mean, it's a pain in the ass, but that trade union knows what it's doing. The bedroom hasn't been done. It's all white. unless you have a major thing that the public are completely and obviously behind and pushing for, the government are going to kind of ignore it. It's fake fireplace. I live in a block of flats. So that's one of the better ways to kind of get your point across. You can tell with polling. That's why they do poll reports and stuff, because they'll be like, who are you going to vote for at the next election? And then they're like, hang on a minute, we're losing votes to so-and-so here. Why is that? And then they try and sort of come up with something where they can pull you back. America is a different story, because I think once you get to a point of being desensitized, you're fighting a losing battle. You know, the yellow vest protest, the gilets jaunes, don't know, probably, well, I mean, at the moment they're probably at home, but I know that they were still kind of going on, but on a smaller scale, a little bit like the Hong Kong protests. They were still going on until COVID kicked in, and they have stopped. But in America, like, gun law, I'm an outsider looking in, right? I get that, but come on, girl. Like, I know there's a lot of people that want to advocate for gun control, but the public are not behind it. There's not enough appetite for it. Even Barack Obama did this interview in one of his election campaigns, and they were talking about it, and he said, look, it's just too big of a monster to deal with. I can't walk in and say, I'm taking your guns away. The most I can do is like 7-day waiting period or something. He's like, and that's going to take forever to deal with, and the NRA are too big, and the public do not really want it. And the thing is, when I saw Sandy Hook, and I sat back and I was like, this is the make or break. This is the moment. We've had college massacres. We've had, you know, issues with your shootings are off the charts. I mean, come on. And when Sandy Hook happened, I sat back and I went, this is a make or break moment for America. How desensitized are they? And the fact that America, the American public, and the American politicians allowed that to go unchecked. The fact that a guy can walk into a preschool and kill the kids there and walk away, well, you know, not exactly walk away, but if the public can walk away from that without any change in the gun law, I don't know how you're ever going to change it. Like, what a horrible, horrible situation. And the public were like, oh, well, I still want my gun. I think it's going to be quite a while. Sorry, this got really serious. I think it's going to be quite a while before the Americans have some kind of gun control, because the public is not there. The desire is not there. If you can let someone go and kill kids and not want to change anything, that's called desensitized. That's major desensitization. And that, girl, I don't know how you come back from that. But that's that. I didn't mean to get so serious. Sorry. I'm trying to keep it lighthearted. So let's talk about something a little bit more lighthearted. But yeah, everyone's got issues. And the main point of this was that research. People just need to, like, not be too quick to jump on a bandwagon and be like, she's cancelled. You know what I mean? Moving on. So I had an idea. So as many of you existing subscribers will know, that I used to do underwear reviews. And some of you who will know that I also have expressed my anxiety or reluctance to kind of go back to how I was doing it. because I felt it was a little bit too gratuitous. It was like an OnlyFans account where I wasn't getting a subscription every month. You know what I mean? And that's a good point, Jose. It's a good point. I don't want to ignore that. Thank you. Yeah, I don't really want to. So in my head, I was like, people want the underwear, because I have had a lot of people say, "Where's the underwear reviews?" And I know that there's desire for it. Moving to OnlyFans, no. In my head, I always associated the return of underwear reviews to be the return of how I was doing it. Kind of gratuitous and not really a review. It was just kind of showing it, modeling it, which, I don't really have a problem with, but I want my subscribers to want to listen to me. I want them to hear me. I don't want them to just see me as like, oh yeah, that's a butt, or that's a pair of underwear, whatever. I don't want them to just see me as that. I kind of felt that that's how a lot of my newer subscribers were seeing me, because my old reviews, I didn't even wear them, but I was getting a lot of stick for not wearing them. So, because I'm happy to wear them, like I do model part-time. I just don't think that YouTube is the place to be doing that. So I wrote it off. I was like, I'm not coming back. And even the people, for the first few weeks when I came back, they're like, where's the underwear reviews? I was like, I'm not doing them. The other day I had a thought. A compromise. Exactly. Matt is exactly right. Remember that you just started with just showing the underwear without putting them on. Exactly. But I got a lot of flack for it. I did get flack for it. Jay, you don't want to be viewed as an object. Kind of. I enjoyed the confidence it brought out in me. Then we got thirsty, even though it seemed like a good idea. Y'all got thirsty. Yeah, so I didn't wear them originally because I didn't have the self-confidence to put myself out there on the internet like that, on camera. I did not have the confidence. YouTube gave me that confidence, and then I started to model, and I started to do, underwear deals, and I did a shoot with Sukru. That was amazing fun. Like, it was in public, for God's sake. It was in a park, and I'm there in the jock strap, and like people are walking past. I'm like, "You're right, mate. I'm just doing a shoot here. Carry on." And I never thought I'd kind of end up as that guy. And then my YouTube went in this different direction because I did have this body confidence and everything, and I think I was kind of not aware of the fact that the subscribers that I was getting, and there was a lot of them, they were only there because they'd never seen me talk about it. They didn't care for the Drag Race reviews. They didn't see my original reviews of the underwear. They just saw me wearing them. So I did feel a little bit objectified at a point. And when I was getting a little bit like about it a few months before I left YouTube for career reasons. And I was getting a bit like, is this the right thing for me? I wasn't sure, so I just carried it on because I didn't have an alternative. But at one point, I was considering an OnlyFans. When OnlyFans was starting to get big, it felt like the next logical step. And I thought, that is not where I wanted my channel to go. I wanted people to hear me. There's a reason it's called Chris Says It. I was supposed to be talking, and I wasn't talking. And so having the break and walking away, I was like, you know what, maybe it was the wrong thing. Maybe I let the pendulum swing too far. There's body confidence, and then there's something else, and I just wasn't really comfortable looking back with what I was doing. I don't regret it, but it gave me a lot of body confidence, and it was great. But that was that. However, I still had messages coming back to me from coming back, and they're like, "Are you going to do underwear reviews?" Because that's why I signed up. And I was very harsh. I was like, no, it's not happening at all. Not happening. Because in my head, going back to that would be a return to the wrong path. I wanted to pull myself onto a different path with this new channel, and I was going to do fitness and stuff. That's going to take a back seat. I'm going to put that on a different channel, I think. Having fitness on one channel and having whatever this is, whatever. What would you call this? Drag race, underwear, and hair care, and I'm going to do videos on perfume. Are you interested in videos on perfume? Because I have a lot of perfume. All that kind of stuff. I don't know what kind of umbrella term it would fall under, but I don't know. Unicorns. But I do miss the underwear reviews. But I had a thought. Not necessarily reviewing, but maybe reviewing without wearing them. Maybe putting the picture on Instagram. I've had an idea of how I can balance. I didn't think I would find this idea, so that's why I wrote it off. But I think I found a way to balance the appreciation of the underwear with the some people finding it sort of thirsty. Because that's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. It's not. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just don't want the pendulum to swing too far away from the reviews, from the seriousness of it. And I don't want it to swing too far away from the fun of it. And, underwear is supposed to make you feel sexy. So I don't want to let it swing away from that. I want to find a happy medium. And I think having a picture of me wearing it in a casual environment, like sat on the sofa with a top and the underwear reading, for example, could be a good Instagram post. It's kind of friendly enough. It's kind of, I think classy enough. I don't want to say that, underwear can be unclassy, but like the kind of thing that you would see on the side of a bus. Women can do it, men can do it. David Beckham did it on the side of a bus for Calvin Klein. That's the kind of thing I'm trying to emulate. And I see it in my head, kind of cash. But on YouTube, I could either review them, or what I thought would be more fun is unboxing. Just something as simple as underwear unboxing. I buy underwear from eBay a lot, cheap, unbranded, just fun. I just buy them for fun. I don't even wear half of them. I have an entire section of my collection. It's just fun underwear that I don't really wear. They're just fun. And I want to bring the fun back into my life. Side note, I do think I've let some of that spark sort of disappear, and I want to reignite it and just have more fun in my life. And I think just a fun unboxing video, being like, this is what I bought, this is a thong, this is briefs, this is this material, I quite like this, does this not look cool? Thanks for watching. If you want to see me wearing them, I've posted one picture on Instagram. I think for me, that feels like a really healthy balance between the fun of it, the seriousness of it, and the sexiness of it. Because you can't ignore any of those. You can't be too serious. You can't be too sexy about it. You can't be too fun about it. Because then you start swinging the pendulum into a different avenue. And I just want this channel to be like a comfortable place, which is kind of serious, but kind of fun. I'm not a porn star. And I don't think I should make my channel into that. But I'm not a politician, so I can have some fun, I think that would be a happy medium. What do you think? Because I only had this idea a couple of days ago. Tyler. Hello, Tyler. I like the name Tyler. I've always liked the name Tyler. It doesn't matter what it falls under, as long as you're putting content out that you enjoy making and watching them, who cares? Yeah. And that was something that I also, back in the day, used to battle with. And I think a lot of YouTubers still battle it. Putting content out there that's going to be watched. When you know that a 1 minute kind of clickbaity underwear video is going to generate you 1,000 views quite quickly, you're going to be more inclined to do it. Because there were videos that I put out there that I had so much fun making that were totally basic, or there was a few that were like really over edited, and I enjoyed that process. And ones that I did for me, and they just weren't watched. You can't spend all that time when you're starting to get a bit more well-known. You can't spend all that time on these massive projects for a small payoff. That's the way I was thinking, because I was starting to think of YouTube as like a business, and I sort of still do. I fell back into that, and I had to say to myself, I want to just have fun. And I wrote off when I came back, because I had my plans. I think I showed you all the plans that I had to come back. I'd been building them for over 12 months. And to come back and then not be received, it was like, oh, okay. And then I took a step back and I thought, what if I just let that go? What if maybe fitness is for a different channel? What would I do on this channel? I liked talking about Drag Race, even though I still have like a questionable relationship with it now. I still enjoy it and I love talking about it. And I missed the Kiki. So I've done 2 Kiki videos, I think. And the response has been so positive, and I filmed them just as me. And I was like, bitch, that's what I need to be doing, just having fun. You know, my last video, I literally set the camera up here, right here on the desk, and I just chatted like I'm chatting with you guys now. And I felt so at ease, and it was so fun to edit. And because it was easy to set up, and I just talked and it felt natural. That's why I thought I could do like a perfume video, because I can just set up there. I know a lot about perfume and I love perfume. I love talking about it. And I was like, you know what? Let's just talk about perfume. And I want to do like a video. I don't know if it's going to be well watched, but maybe. And say like, this is my favorite perfume, or blah, 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 blah. And just kind of do it like really chill. You've probably noticed even my intros are a lot more relaxed. I'm not asking people to really subscribe as much as I used to. At the end of the video, I'm like, look, just support me, hit the subscribe button. But it's not the end of the world. I used to be so obsessed with the numbers. And I think a lot of major YouTubers get so obsessed with the numbers, which is understandable because it's their business. I want this to be fun. If it turns into a business, great. If I can get a bit of ad revenue, great. If I can, if I can get some PT clients, because I'm a personal trainer, if I can get some PT clients to do this and I can help people with that, if they feel more comfortable training with me than going to a gym on their own and being a bit intimidated, I'm happy to do that. But that's not my primary. I want to have fun with this. I want to reconnect with you guys. And I think I forgot that. So I think underwear unboxing, I've just bought loads on eBay because I stopped buying underwear as well. I've just bought loads on eBay. They're on their way. And I'm like, I could do an unboxing. Even if it's just a 5-minute video. Here's me unboxing this. Isn't this pretty cool? Okay, cool. Hope you're all well. Okay, I'll see you later. Just checking in. Why not? Why not? You know? So then I can still have like underwear. And I can link in my social media. And I can do Drag Race. And like I thought about Drag Race Revisited, going back through the annals and doing week by week. Okay, let's watch it together. Watch parties. What is that a thing? Can we do that? Could we do a watch party? Like once a week, we sit down at like a certain time on live and we watch like season 2 of Drag Race week by week. And then I'll do a Kiki on it. Like an edited, like we'll just watch the show and then could we do that? Like watch it live, like on a premiere. Is that a thing? Could we do that? Copyright issues, potentially. What if we put in headphones and we all press play at the same time? So we'd have to get a group, there'd have to be enough people, but then afterwards, I could do the Kiki Revisited. Oh, and then it could also be like when people then watch it back on live stream, because they just press play at the same time as me, they can kind of have the same live interaction, even though there's no chat. But Zoom could be fun, but like, I think it's a bit more like if we keep it on YouTube, maybe Instagram Live. Is that something you're interested in? Because I like the idea of the Kiki Revisited, going back week by week through an old season and kind of doing the Kiki on that. Would you watch that? But I'm thinking of like Drag Race, I'm thinking of, perfume, I'm thinking of beauty and skincare and hair care and underwear and, I don't know, all things gay. Unicorns. Chris unicorns it? I don't know. Let me just go back through some of the comments here, because I don't want you to think I'm ignoring your comments. Andrew, my favorite content from you were the casual talking videos or the Kikis. They were how I discovered you. The Kiki was really popular. It was really popular. I was getting thousands of hits for that. The underwear was fun, obviously, but I completely agree with your decision. Like, I get it. Yeah. I agree with Tyler. If it's authentically fun for you, that's what's important, what you like, not what will perform well. Exactly. There's a balance to be found in catering for an audience, the business, but still showing something authentic that you actually enjoy. That was it. I felt like my voice was being lost because the channel was called Chris Says It. And the idea was that I would say it. That was the entire point. When I started, I was doing like commentary videos and I wanted to put my point of view across, and that got lost and I felt silenced by myself. It was my fault. As an OG, Matt's an OG. Can you give me an example of one of those? I used to watch just about everything. An example of what, one of my older videos? Because I've removed all my older videos. I put them on private. So I could bring some of the older Kikis back. If you're interested in season 7, 8, and 9, I still have them. I can bring them back. Here's a thought. Why don't you use one site for one idea, Insta and YouTube? I mean, the two generally are quite interlinked, aren't they? I think the Instagram could supplement YouTube. It's always felt like it's supplemented YouTube for me. Sounds good. Your opinion's always fun to listen to. Thank you. I would also like to do videos where I talk about big issues. Maybe on a live chat, maybe on an edited video. I've always loved like The View, and although it's sometimes a bit too catty for me, and Question Time is like my thing. Love Question Time. If I could do something akin to that, you know, can we talk about a big issue in a serious way that's accessible? I would love that. I would love to get the conversation started. I say that in my episodes a lot. Let's get the conversation started. My go-to cologne is now John Varvatos Vintage. Love it. I don't think I've smelled that one. Gasp, the audience gasps. Absolutely. Copyright issues, yeah. Netflix party, I'm not sure how many can join, although if everyone could pause it, maybe it could get messy. Maybe you all press play would work. I didn't know Netflix party was a thing. Matty Rants is one of them. Could an Instagram Live work better for that? Possibly. Actually, Bob the Drag Queen watched the season 8 premiere with his patrons a week ago. Yeah. Oh, iPlayer is testing a watch party function. That's interesting. My Instagram, Tyler, is Christopher Thomas _. I'm trying to find, if you can find an available username that is something to do with Chris Thomas, because I have just changed my YouTube name again. I feel like Chris Thomas is just far easier. If you can find me an Instagram name that involves that doesn't look ridiculous, let me know. But yeah, Christopher Thomas _. Used to be Chris Says It. Almost feel like I should go back to it. But I need to move on. I think Chris Thomas is better. Watch party was definitely fun. The glitter bomb of the Kiki channels. Like, I think that could be really fun. Have a watch party live, like a slumber party. And then, like, that's cool, wrapped up, maybe watch Untucked. Put that to one side. Then I go and do the Kiki on the thing we just watched. And then the people that can't make the live can either watch that back and tune in at the same time, like they can put their headphone in, or they can then just watch the Kiki Revisited. You might get away with some copyright issues under the guise of reviews, but it might want to look into the legalities of it. I feel like rather than me playing it like a picture-in-picture, I feel like the easiest thing would be to just be like, hey guys, so like this. Hey guys, you know, here's my headphones. You know, I'm going to put my headphones in and start watching, you know, okay, so we're going to press play in 3, 2, 1, and we all, like, whoever's in then joins in, and we talk like this, and it's, I mean, I'll be watching it off screen, and then we'll laugh at the things and we'll talk and be like, God, did you see what? Oh, I love that joke, and blah blah blah, and we can like chat, typing away and that kind of thing. That could be fun. So it's kind of like basic AF, but if it's live, it's just basic. I feel like there could be a lot of copyright issues, and I don't even know where I'd begin to like get a picture-in-picture thing, and the legalities behind that just seem astronomical. The ones you like that no one watched. Christophe. My mum said I should try Christophe, but I think then everyone would get very confused and they'd be like, is he French? I'm like, no. Chris opines it, a bit more highbrow. I think just I think Chris Thomas, it just fits. Like everyone else seems to just be using their name now. Like when I first started YouTube, all the way back. This is technically my third account. The Chris Says It era. Yes, I've had a break, but I came back to the same account. So maybe this is my fourth go at YouTube, but it's my third account. My first one, I don't remember the name of it, and my second one had the best name. And for some reason, I lost it. I don't know how. I couldn't get back into it. The email thing wasn't working. It was so good. It was called According to Chris. Bitch. That name was sick. But that was an era when everyone was using a nickname like that. You know, Pixie Woo and Pixie Two Woo and Jimmy Bobber, and just everyone had like a funny name. I think that's where like Nikki Tutorials kind of, that name sort of appeared. It was the fashion to come up with a name like that rather than use your own name. I mean, even the big hitters of the day, Elle and Blair Fowler, they had, was it Juicy Star 07 and whatever else was, and then they weren't even their real names, Elle and Blair. So everything was a bit more hidden. Now it's just out there. Shane Dawson, James Charles, Jeffree Star. Obviously, we're going to include Chris Thomas in that. Just everyone just seems to be putting their name out there, and the ones with like an interesting name are either throwbacks to that era, like PewDiePie, or are like gaming channels. Gaming channels tend to have like a nickname because everyone has a nickname in online gaming that they work with. Like I play online games. I have a nickname that I tend to use for most things, and people know me as that. Not that I play a lot of online games, but you know, I tend to go by Yuck Fu. So don't steal that one because that's mine. But for like chatty channels, it's just like the name, you know? So I felt like Chris Thomas is a little bit more authentic. It's a very long answer, isn't it? Very long answer. Oh, I think I need to go to bed. I was only going to do this for half an hour. Legit, I was going to do this for half an hour, and 2 hours, 30 minutes later. But yeah, nicknames are very early internet, especially on YouTube. Like my first go of YouTube was, I wanted to do it, but I felt like I needed an excuse to do it. And I was 18 and I did it for an art project. I wanted to see kind of like how many subscribers I could get. That was like the project. It was digital art, but I wanted to do it through the medium of YouTube. It was kind of like a double-pronged thing. It was going to hopefully get me a good grade, but it was also something I was interested in. And then the second one was where I was going to do reviews and stuff. And I started, and it was According to Chris, and it was going well. And then Jimmy Bobber stole my thunder. Anyway, because I was trying to get into like the fledgling beauty community, the beauty gurus, which I was watching a lot of, but there was no men doing it, none. And I was like, there's a gap here. I wanted to feel like I was working in beauty at the time. And then that fizzled out because of uni, and then I had a big old break, and then I came back as Chris Says It. That was a time when the names were becoming, like proper names were becoming a thing, but it was still a bit like, is this going to catch on? Like, who knows? And then it really did. So I thought, coming back, I am slightly a different person, so I probably need a different name. But there we go. So let's wrap this up here. Thank you so much, all of you. I know many have already gone, but thank you for coming along and perking up my evening, because I was had a bit of a grumpy day, to be honest, and this has really perked me up. So thank you very much. I hope you have a really good night, and I hope you stay safe. Christophe le dit, ouais, naturellement, hein. Tyler found my Insta. Well done. Let me see. Rel's still here. Why are you not on my participant list? Oh, now you are. Did you disappear, Rel? Did you go away? Did you leave me? And Andrew, oh my gosh, is everyone just here and just everyone's being quiet? But yeah, thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it. And I'll try and do another one of these at some point. I will be doing hopefully a perfume review, because I really love perfume and I'd love to be able to get free ones. Have the company send them to me and I'll be like, I'm going to review them. It's so much easier to review them than underwear. Yeah, I have a lot of perfumes. I've probably got like 75, 80. So yeah. Let's wrap that up here. Have a good one. Be good. Thanks for joining me. I also want to do something Kiki related. I can't remember what it was now. It'll come to me tomorrow. Yeah. But hit me up on Instagram at Christopher Thomas _ and yeah. I'll see you soon. Mwah. Love you lots. Take care. Thanks again. You've poked me right up. I was a bit grumpy today. So I'm smile on my face, ready for sleep, because I did not sleep well last night. Anyway, Chris, shut up. Good night. Thank you.